In May 2026, Connecticut lawmakers passed a bill that touches almost everyone in the state, and most residents have never heard its real name. It started as Senate Bill 1. Today, it's law. Its official name is Public Act 2668. Senate Bill 1 had a simple title: An Act Concerning Affordability. It was the top priority of the 2026 session. The Connecticut General Assembly convened on February 4, 2026, and adjourned on May 6th. By the time it passed, SB 1 had grown from a tax relief bill into a 745-page budget implementer. Governor Ned Lamont signed it on May 26, 2026. That's when. So what does affordability actually mean for a family in Connecticut? Let's start with the grocery store. Under the new law, sandwiches, grinders, coffee, and tea sold at grocery stores are now exempt from sales tax. Clothing under $100 is also tax exempt, along with school supplies and household appliances. For a family buying back-to-school clothes and supplies, that adds up fast, and it was one of the bill's central promises. The act also increased the maximum credit against the personal income tax for a primary residence or vehicle. That means homeowners and car owners in Connecticut could see a bigger deduction when they file their state income taxes. The act created a new tax credit for people who pay for the care of a family member. If you're covering costs for an aging parent or a family member with a disability, this credit was written for that situation. There is also a new credit for renters, covering a portion of the rent paid on a primary residence in Connecticut. For years, renters argued that Connecticut's tax relief favored homeowners. This provision was a direct response to that criticism. Affordability is only part of what's packed into this bill. It also functions as a budget implementer. That means it adjusts the state budget for the 2-year period ending June 30, 2027. It also makes deficiency appropriations, which are emergency funding fixes for the fiscal year that ended June 30, 2026. The Act authorizes and adjusts state bonds as well, which is how Connecticut borrows money for long-term projects. Some of that bonding is tied to school construction projects across dozens of Connecticut towns. Buried in the fine print are provisions that have nothing to do with the budget, which is common for bills of this size. One example: starting October 1, 2026, time spent in employer-required security screenings counts as hours worked. That is a real change for warehouse and distribution workers who scan in before their shift technically starts. The Act also creates a task force to study heat safety, looking at how to protect outdoor workers from extreme heat. It is a small provision compared to the tax changes, but it shows how one bill can reach into dozens of unrelated corners of state law. Most of the tax provisions took effect July 1, 2026, the same day the new fiscal year began. The wage and hour changes follow later, on October 1, 2026, giving employers time to adjust. So the next time someone mentions Senate Bill 1, you'll know it passed, it was signed, and it is the current law in Connecticut. Public Act 2668, 745 pages, one stated goal: making Connecticut a little more affordable. What do you think?